Now, Tottenham have had quite a good start to the Premier League this season with 3 wins and 1 defeat so far in the campaign. They now embark on their Champions League journey, making a return to the competition for the first time in a few years after winning the Europa League last year. But today I want to talk about the changes from Ange ball to Frank ball and some massive differences between the two styles. Now, Thomas Frank has taken this system and implemented it for his own self-gain and Tottenham's self-gain as well. So today on the Sonny Spurs YouTube channel, we'll be talking in general about Tottenham's start to the Premier League season and deep diving into different tactics systems that Thomas Frank has done and achieved so far. But if you are new to the channel, then leave your likes, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let me know in the comments down below, what have you made of Frank's start to life at Spurs? So yeah, this video is a bit different. I'm going to go a bit off script today and sort of talk about what I've seen so far from Frank this season, because I've been very, very impressed. I didn't actually watch the game against West Ham on Saturday, annoyingly. I was in the south of France for a wedding and literally couldn't watch it whatsoever. Had no access to any highlights or streams, or, you know, because being in a different country. I listened to a bit of it on the radio, but obviously you can't make much from that. But now I'm back and I've watched the extended highlights, looked at the stats. I've now got a bigger picture of how the game went, and I do prefer this style of football to Ange Postecoglou. I was actually talking to my dad after the game and getting his opinion of it on, you know, late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and he put something into perspective, and I've been thinking this for a while. It's such a better watch. You know, people were saying that Ange was an entertaining, you know, like, for example, he's gone into Nottingham Forest, isn't he? And people were calling it, you know, it's entertaining compared to Nuno, it's exciting. But if you think about it, it's not. It's actually not, because you're sitting there thinking you're going to concede all the time. Every time that opposition team come on the attack, you think you're going to concede. Whereas with Frank, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like it's comfortable. It's, you know, pragmatic. It's clever. It's not doing the silly business. It's, you know, attacking when you need to attack. It's, you know, making sure you're not making mistakes when you're defending. It just all adds up to being such a better system. But before we go any further, guys, I've got to shout out this. I am only 100 or so subs away from hitting 10,000. It's a massive milestone for me, and I'd love you guys to join the Sonny Spurs army ahead of this new season. So get down below, leave your like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, join the Sonny Spurs, chat in the comment section, and also just enjoy the video. Hit the hype button as well. And until then, let's get on with the video. And as many of you will be aware, I was at the Bournemouth game, and you could see the issues and where the issues were lying from that game, really. We were lacking creativity. You know, defensively, we were pretty okay in that game. I know they had one attack and scored from it, but that was pretty much it. You know, if you take that out, it was a pretty solid defensive and midfield performance from a defensive point of view. But in the attack, it was, you know, it was a bit stale. It was a bit, you know, a lot of issues for the likes of, you know, Richarlison and anyone in that midfield 10 position to create and score. And we didn't score in that game, did we? So we could see that we were quite blunt at the top end of the field. But what I will say is, you know, when we look at how we performed across the whole season so far, we are still scoring quite a few goals. You know, 3 against Burnley, 2 against Manchester City, 3 against West Ham. And what was better about the West Ham game, from what I've seen, is creativity-wise, we looked a lot better. Xavi Simons, I thought, was fantastic in his debut, got an assist, you know, really good corner delivery as well. So from that point of view, I think we're good in that creative sense. Then you've got, you know, Mohamed Kudus, who I think's had an amazing start to the season. I feel like he will offer a lot. We've now got different options up front, which I really like. You know, Sarr has been playing in the 10 occasionally, but as the 8 more predominantly, and he is now a bit of a goal threat, which is good. You know, really good from the corner as well, which I really, really liked. And then you've got Tell, you've got Solanke when he comes back, you've got Richarlison for some aerial threat, you've got Colomwani, who we haven't seen yet, Odebear, you know, Dejan Kulusevski and Maddison when they come back from their injuries as well. So there's lots of good options there, which I really, really like. And even that midfield blend, I think, is really good under Thomas Frank. You know, really getting the most out of João Paulinho. I think has been absolutely awesome since he came. Bergvall getting his first Premier League goal. He just ran and ran and ran in that game, which I was really, really impressed by. And just loads of different options. And Frank's not afraid to change up. 2 changes from the Bournemouth game. I think, I was saying this to my dad when we were at the game. That defeat might have been good for us. And it sounds crazy saying that, but you can take a lot from those sort of defeats. And Frank is a person, you see him with his notepad and plans and looking at footage. He will go and find the issues and we will resolve them. When we were playing in Ange Postecoglou's first season and we would get going undefeated and cracks then started to show, that's when there was a worry. But I can see Thomas Frank eradicating all these different issues. And look, we've only conceded 1 goal in 4 games, and we've kept clean sheets in 3 of them. And I think that equaled our clean sheet record from last season, I believe. I saw a tweet saying that, which is absolutely incredible. And I mean, look at the defence and the goalkeeper. Vicario, again, making a good save, a vital moment in that game against West Ham. He kept us in the Bournemouth game and kept, the goals conceded down. He was brilliant again against City in a vital moment and made a key save. I mean, Van der Ven and Romero look like they want to get amongst the goals now. I mean, Van der Ven's goal, it's like a striker's finish from him. Even our fullbacks now, Porro, Spence, Adogi, they all offer something really, really good, creativity-wise, defensive-wise as well. So I'm really excited about what this Spurs team can achieve this season, the blend that they're putting together. I mean, look at Romero. I mean, when do we start talking about Romero as a world-class centre-back? When do we start doing that? Because the pass over the top to Bergvall, if Rodri was doing that, or, another creative midfielder was pinging that ball over the top, everyone would be going absolutely berserk. That's a centre-back. I mean, his passing range for a centre-back is one of the best in the world. And that chip that just finds Bergvall, and Bergvall, all he has to do is loft it over. I mean, it's a tricky skill for Bergvall to get on the top of, but it was absolutely sublime. And I'm so impressed with how, Romero was taking that captain's armband. He's leading from example. And ideally, in this West Ham game, I think West Ham are a very poor team, but should have been about 4 or 5. We should have probably had a penalty. The goal was ruled out wrongly, in my opinion, but I'm really, really happy with how Thomas Frank lines up, how he's willing to change, how he's, really wanting to... Because, if you think about it, Frank has not got a good record against West Ham at the London Stadium. We have not won there in 5 years. So, you're getting those hoodoos out of the way. I actually think, when I look at the Bournemouth game, Bournemouth are a strong team. Bournemouth are a very, very strong team. Semenyo is an absolutely class player. I think he's unbelievable. So, taking that all into consideration, I think the Bournemouth game was a bit of a blip. Now we've got Xavi Simons in and Kudos with a few more games under his belt. I think if you play that game in 2 or 3 weeks' time, it's a different result. I really, really do. So, yeah, I've been very impressed. And I think the bit that, really proves how we're changing is our set pieces as well, both defensively and attacking-wise. You've got to remember Ange Postecoglou dismissed set pieces, doesn't like them, didn't agree with them, all that sort of hoodoo. But the way that we have just been able to, because set pieces as well were West Ham's weak point going into this, in this season so far. They're really, really bad at defending them. I think they've conceded maybe 5 already this season, including the one that we scored. But what we did was, from that first half and then another corner in the first half, we noticed that they weren't picking up anyone on the back post. They were not picking up the spare man on the back post. It was Matthias Tell in the first half that they just let, sort of run around the back and, nothing came of it. But then Sarr did it and they still didn't do it. And, I think at half-time, Thomas Frank and his team were like, you need to go for this. They're not picking up in the right positions. So then when, Sarr's there, he heads it home and you can see him, there's pictures, and everyone on Twitter has been like, what are they pointing at? They're pointing at the bench because the set piece coach and the other coaches have highlighted that as a thing that needed to be attacked. So I've just been really, really impressed. And I think, now going into next couple of weeks, we've got some okay fixtures, I will say. Brighton haven't started the best. Wolves haven't started that well either. We need to keep picking up points because, at the moment we're seeing ourselves in the higher positions. People are now starting to talk about us. Can Tottenham get over the line? But I just think, Thomas Frank, at the moment, we will lose games. It's how the season goes. We're not the finished article. I'm not getting too far ahead of ourselves. But I think as it stands, Tottenham are in a very comfortable position. I think as fans, we should be excited about that as well. and just sort of go with the ride and just sort of enjoy it, enjoy the fixtures, enjoy, this new era that we're heading into post Daniel Levy as well. And just really think, let's have a go at it. Let's have a go at the cup competitions. Let's have a go and see how far we get in the Champions League, and let's see how far we can finish up the Premier League table. Because I'm really happy. I always get a bit nervous ahead of a West Ham fixture, thinking, "Oh, what's going to happen here? What could happen?" But when we went 2 or 3 or 4, even when it was 3-0 in the 67th minute, I was thinking, I don't think we're going to concede it. Even the red card, I know, changed the game as well. But I think West Ham looked flat. And I've seen it so many times. Say like Tottenham have passed, will score a goal that gets disallowed, and then our heads will drop. It motivated us even more. We knew they were there to get. And I think now, because in that squad, they're a group of winners after winning the Europa League, it gives them a lot of faith that they can go and go one step further this year in different competitions. So, yeah, I'm very, very happy with what I've seen. And I think many other people are sort of saying this about Tottenham now after seeing how good they've been so far this season.
Shocking performance yesterday. Graham Potter really under pressure after standing there and watching that in front of his own fans. A happy day, though, for Spurs fans, and what was being dubbed as a real kind of rivalry. The half and half scarves were banned from that game as well. Really got tetchy going to that level. Pleased to say joining us now, Spurs fan and DJ Jess is at. Good morning, Jess. How are you?
Jess.
Morning. I am in good spirits today. But I will say this is earlier than I normally have to get up for work.
Well, you probably just finished work in a club somewhere, Jess.
I actually have a radio show that happens on a Saturday night. But yeah, we were celebrating a little, I can't lie, because I don't know, it's a really good feeling, and it's a really good start to the season for Spurs fans. Thomas Frank as well, he's been welcomed with open arms. The only thing that I'm a little bit gutted by, if you go for a 3-0 scoreline, right? Kudus so badly wanted a goal. He wanted to be on the score sheet, and I think that would have been an awesome return to the West Ham Stadium for him. But it didn't happen. But you know what? I'll take the win. I'll take the 3 points and the clean sheet.
Well, look, Jess, the big thing is with Thomas Frank is that he's such an adaptable manager. And last season you had Ange Postecoglou insisted on playing a particular way, which you can see how versatile Thomas Frank is and adapting, and not only being brilliant at set pieces that you caused West Ham no end of problems yesterday on nearly every corner. It was just like carnage for West Ham to try and deal with. But that in itself has instilled also his team selection. You're clearly a four at the back starting lineup, and you can cause teams a lot of problems. And he left players out yesterday, like Brennan Johnson, and we also saw Richarlison, who had started the season, and he knew what he needed yesterday against West Ham.
You know what? You just mentioned the two people that I was like, this is crazy. Like last season, those two would not have been left off the starting lineup. Richie with, I think, goal of the season earlier, literally in the first game. And then Brennan Johnson, our top goal scorer, for them to be able to come on as our, I guess, super subs is crazy to me, and something that we've never really, it's something that we've only dreamt of, having this sort of squad depth, because even when we did have younger, exciting players joining, it felt like a bit too early. Whereas this year, it feels like they're really strong and in their element. I mean, Lucas Bergvall was just doing Bergvall things across the entire pitch. Yeah. And I just think also what was quite nice is that even though it was 0-0 in the first half, we just were watching this team that looked really comfortable, and it felt like it was coming. I know the West Ham did have a few chances then, but so did we. And I always think that a more experienced team will come for you in the second half. They'll get the job done in the second half. And I think that's testament to Thomas Frank having tactical changes. You did mention Big Ange. I have a huge soft spot for Big Ange, and I really, really wish that he had beaten the Gooners yesterday. But you know what? You can't have it all, can you? So best of luck to him. But yeah, you're right. He was rigid in his style, and I think that did lend us the coldest quote of the season. But he did his thing, and now we've all moved on.
This is it. Where are you moving on to this season? Where can you finish in the league? Is it 17th? Is it 18th?
Oh my God, it can't be 17th again. We're not going through that again. Look, we got the trophy. You know what? I'm going to put this out there. In hindsight, we can look at what Big Ange did for us. And what he did is he sacrificed everything to get Son to lift a trophy and complete that story. And I will forever be grateful for that decade of Son and then, you know, the cherry on top of the cake. And so now we're released and we can move forward. We have a team that was built during his time, and now we're capitalising on that. And I think this season, Thomas Frank can see everything that we need to do, everything that we did wrong last season. He's got a bunch of players that are hungry, have a taste of winning. And I think they're just ready.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say top 4.
Oh,
I don't want to give like an exact position, but I think we're really gunning for it this year. Yeah.
Oh, gunning for it. Wrong word there, Jess, but we'll absolutely take it. We need to get you DJing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium very, very soon. Jess is at the Spurs fan and DJ as well. Jess, take care. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jess.
Big love.
Lovely stuff.
But yeah, that's my opinion on Tottenham so far this season and the West Ham result as well. Sorry about the delay, but yeah, as I say, I've been away for a couple of days, sunning myself up in the south of France. But yeah, that's my opinion on all that. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also stay tuned. The next episode of Inside Spurs coming out on Wednesday or Thursday is myself, Majestic, and the one and only David Bentley of, you know, obviously Tottenham fame, scored that amazing goal against Arsenal, so stay tuned for that as well. And why not go and watch one of my other videos that will be linked on the end screen after this. But until next time, up the Spurs, I'll see you guys pretty soon. Bye.